Episode 12. Holy smokes, 12 weeks. And if you got a car payment right now, you're not driving your car. It's the banks. It's kind of been the week's momentum. Let's see what we got going on today at the Valet. I don't know if you can see that. That's a Caddy V. It's a beautiful color. Been seeing a lot of those like every night. That one's awesome. Looks like a dark gray color. Right up front. Looks like the line is a little quiet right this second. For 8:30. But we're live. Above the Valet. Real cars. Real money. That'd be some nice stuff. Let me get on here, so if you got some, you want to send in a chat, you're more than welcome. We'll make sure we got it turned on this week. Last week was a little messed up. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Make sure you got something to drink, coffee. You know, for me it's a cigar. I gotta say, it was one heck of a week. We gotta talk about Michigan for a second. Being the national champions. As you know, I had them all the way. That's for sure. I called it from day one. So yeah, my boys won it. That's for sure. Yes. That was great. Go blue. So that started off the week. Definitely was busy this week. A lot of comments. I appreciate all the comments. It was a ton. I even was a little under the weather this weekend. It still was good. You guys, it's awesome. Oh, beautiful blue Ferrari pulling in. That thing's sweet. I like that color. And it's all the time. Some expensive cars here. Wonder what that's worth right now. Got to be well over 100, that's for sure. I don't know what those are new, but they're expensive. That's sweet. You think those are bank-owned cars? Like the Ferraris down there? There's a beautiful Aston Martin down there too. I doubt it. I bet down here they're not. I bet a lot of these are, you know, I would say a lot of the super high dollar ones, maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe there's some, at least in some of them, but I doubt it. Yeah, that's sweet. The kid moving into Valet's, looks like he's Who knows? Maybe I'll leave it right there. Yeah, that's awesome. That blue one, that really pops. Yes, I've been in the car business my whole life. Do I sell cars for a living? No. I mean, I have. Obviously, that's part of it, but I've been in the car business. Finance cars, wholesale cars, service cars, you name it, dealerships. I've been doing it for over 25 years. Boats? No, but I like boats. Yeah, I've sold boats before. That's for sure. Well, I don't know what that is, but they're screaming out there. There are a few good exotic rental car companies here in Sarasota. Yes, they are. They're around here. I couldn't name them all, but I don't know if the business is super good compared to like maybe in Vegas or Miami or something. But I know they do it. I see the guys. They'll be at like the Cars and Coffee or the, you know, like the car rallies, and they're promoting the exotic car rentals. They kind of do it with like maybe a detail shop type setup, where they're doing the ceramic coating and PPF and all that. But it is here. I don't think the market's okay here for that in Sarasota. I don't think it's like some of these other spots. I'm sure in other areas that's a great business. So renting exotics. I think with that Toro, yeah, no, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm just reading your comments here. That it is low key, but it's really turning into ton of. You're right. It will probably make sense soon. A lot of money coming here. They're building probably 18 big high rises within 3 miles of here downtown, and they're real expensive. I just seen an article today speaking of the money coming into Florida. It was more money was moving into Florida than the following 3 states. I want to say it was like $21 billion or something. I forget what it was, but the next 3 states in line weren't even as much as the amount. I mean, and there's a lot of people who seem to be moving right here to Sarasota, wealthy individuals. That market would be good. I mean, it definitely works. I mean, I've seen car rental in a lot of different ways, but that exotic is a little different animal. But the money's here, that's for sure for it. But I would say a lot of these people coming out to dinner, these aren't rental cars. They're unless they're here on vacation, but they're not renting exotic cars coming. I could be wrong, but 90% of them. I mean, I know some of the people pulling in there, and they're their cars. That's for sure. I would think that some of the swings with some of those exotic cars and price, talking about depreciation, you'd want to make sure you keep it moving. You'd have to have keep it out there making money. I mean, the one thing about some of those cars is one of them does the dumb numbers, at the auction or something. The rest of them just dump in price. Next thing you know, your car's worth $100,000 less. That's the one thing about some of those exotic cars it's not so fun. Yeah, that's a new Escalade Cadillac V Series that you see there. It's like a matte gray, beautiful. I love those. It's funny. Every night there's been one or two of the Cadillac V Series pulling in out of here, and I absolutely love them. I think they started like 170,000 or something. They sound good, and that's just for a truck, Cadillac truck. That's awesome. Yes, yes, it is an absolute beast. The V Series, and it's just the great motor LS with the supercharged. They did that truck right, that's for sure. I love it too. I'm with you on that. For sure. It was funny. There was a silver one yesterday or earlier today, and then there was one last night ripping around here in white. And I feel like the last week it has been one every single night. There was a real nice crimson red or that blue reddish color, awesome in the Cadillac. And that one, I mean, that's got a good look too, with that matte gray. I don't know if it's a wrap, most likely. I don't know, unless they did that truck. I don't know for sure, but it's definitely new. Who knows? They might be doing that color. For an everyday driver, the Cadillac V would be perfect, especially if you got some little family. Shit, even if you don't, those are sweet. I just was earlier, right before, a little earlier today, I was just putting some tires on one of my cars that needed it, and they were putting tires on a newer Corvette, and I swear the rears were like 355s or something. I like that. I like all that new GM high performance stuff. That's for sure. So, and they did the Cadillac V right. But that one looks like it's got some big brakes on it too. I mean, it's hard to see from right here, but I might be able to zoom in on it. Hold on. Let me see. Not really. We'll zoom in on it when they fire that one up. See what it sounds like. And that flat color is starting to grow on me. Satin colors. And I think those, we were talking this week about the depreciation on a lot of that stuff. And the Cadillac V Series probably is pretty solid, doesn't depreciate like super crazy like most of the stuff. And I know the older V Series stuff, like the CTSs, they hold their value pretty strong. And they got good value. So I don't think them Cadillac trucks doing pretty good. Definitely. I'd hate to have to go buy one of those on payment, so at 170 grand, that wouldn't be no fun. The heck would the payment be on that? Be a lot. And I doubt they lease those too much. I bet a lot of those are bought trucks. They're probably they're definitely purchased. They're not. I mean, I'm sure they lease them out, but they're probably not cheap to lease the ones. I don't know. God, how much do I think a month? I don't know. I have to look. Well, between 26 and 31, but I bet you they do a 10-year note on those. That's over 6 years. So around $3,000 over 6 years. But I bet they stretch that for some reason. I heard somewhere along the line they're doing 10 years on those. Get it down a little bit. That wouldn't be fun though, making a payment on that for 10 years. Even 6. Even 5. But man, sweet truck, that's for sure. Yeah, if you're buying it, just find a cool car and buy something. And then when your lease is over, let's get rid of it. Buy something, enthusiast, something fun, but something that'll hold up. I looked at a bunch of cars earlier this week. There's a lot of inventory right now, and I think the prices are reasonable, especially if you get some of the earlier 2000s stuffs. There's some nice Cadillac trucks out there, Tahoes. I like that. Well, I'm a big fan of all the OBS, even the first generate, this Cadillac Escalades, all of them, all the older ones. In fact, I looked at one earlier this week, an EXT, all-wheel drive, 6.0, great truck. They weren't even asking that much. It had 160,000 miles on. They were asking like $5,000. I mean, he's probably willing to take 3,500, and it's probably a good buy. It's a lot of truck. That's what I'd do. I mean, at $500 a month, you're 6 months of payments, and you don't have to carry crazy coverage. That'd be a nice truck to put together. That stuff's coming way up in value, especially a nice clean one. If you fix something up like that, you're going to be at they're going to be $20,000 trucks. Those are the GMT 800 chassis from 2002 to 2006. Denali's Escalade, that body style, 6.0 motors. Those are great motors. They don't have all that variable timing stuff in them. They hold up. If you don't want to spend $500 a month and have something nice, and you could easily do that for, if well under $10,000. And that stuff's out there, and you're buying it at the bottom of the curve. You know, you're not just you know, things just going to go up in value, especially if you know, if you put a little spend a little time on it, spend a little money, buy what, you know, fix what's wrong with it. The parts are out there; they're everywhere. I buy stuff all the time, ordering all the time, especially the GM, that type of stuff we're talking about. The older models, the 88 and 99 GM, you know, the Tahoes and the all, you know, the Suburbans, all that stuff's already exploded in value, and it's still continuing to grow. That's why the next model, and they're drivable. You know, they're even just the 5.3 motor Suburban or Yukons. They're awesome. I mean, the Escalades have the 6.0, and then you get into the 6.2 liter, and they're all great motors. As the years went on, after 07, 8, 9, then the 6.2, all of them, they started putting a little more variable timing and displacement on demand, which you kind of want to stay away or fix it, you know, so it doesn't break on you. You know, make it standard. That's what's nicer about some of that older stuff, the 06 and back. And you're not going to lose any money. When you make it nice, this fucking shit looks new. Looks brand new. I love that stuff. Big time. You know, something's out there revving up. Yeah, holy smokes. And the taxes on that, if you bought one of those trucks, say 170, you're talking about almost $15,000 in tax and title and stuff. What the heck? Well, here, I get it. There's some places that you wouldn't have to pay tax on it, but man, most places you do. That would not be fun. I mean, there you go, right? The taxes on that, you can go buy a super nice, older, reliable one, just in the taxes on the new one. Make a supercharged open series if you want to. There's a nice, beautiful company you can see on the convertible corner. It's gorgeous. Gray, black top. That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. That's got the right wheels set up. I like that one. Now, I really like the hard top of those. You know, but the convertible's cool. That's for sure. But you're talking my lane. I love the Cadillac stuff. All those high performance Cadillacs, they're great. Let's see here. I don't know about the used, like if there's a ton of in fact, no, you know what? There was a used new one, Cadillac V, but they wanted a lot for it, but in fact, I saw it pop up the other day. It was a 2025. Didn't have a couple thousand miles on it. That stuff's already out there. I mean, you got to buy, you know, if you got the money and pay for one, I'm sure you can find, and you know those have probably been taken care of sitting somewhere, and the guy had it a couple thousand miles, don't want it. They're out there. If you really want one, you can pay for one. That'd be a great one to have. Like I said, I don't think you're going to take You know, the appreciation's a little less on something like that. Shit, if you bought one of those at one of the national big auctions like Meekum or Barrett Jackson, they're gonna want 10. It cost you $17,000 buy fee, 18,000, almost 20 grand to buy it, just the auction fee. You definitely want to buy one of those off private owner. Save a little bit, save the dealer fee, save it all. And they're out there, that's for sure. Like I said, the prices go down on the street. At the auction, they definitely go up. Who knows? Maybe they're trading above MSRP at those big auctions. I haven't really watched the Cadillac V's. I'm assuming they're available. I'm seeing them around here like they're candy. And dealers would definitely overpay at the auction for something like that. But they're definitely a hot truck. Thank you for chiming in and talking about the Caddy V, because they're sweet. I think there's a little Raptor going around there. That's what it looked like. Yeah, a lot of Raptors down here too. And there was a Raptor R sitting out there the other day. I mean, I guess you could compare that to kind of like the Cadillac truck. I mean, I realize it's a truck, but I'd want the high performance Caddy over the Ford. I just like the big motor, the V8. I get all of the the boosted 3.5 or whatever they're putting on all that Ford stuff, but I definitely prefer the V8. I'm just better longevity. But they do make some power out of the little motors. I'm still a displacement guy though. Definitely. What you said you're releasing a car for 500. What is it? What is the car that you're leasing for 500? What does 500 get you in the lease actually? I don't even know. Did I lose you? I don't know what the average lease is anymore. I mean, obviously the average car, so you got 26 Honda CRV. What's that car cost new? The 26 CRV. That seems like an expensive car for 500 a month though. Yeah, at 42, that's probably a pretty good deal for 500 a month. You like the foreign stuff, or do you like like everything? You see even people driving a lot of the older Honda CRVs, and they like them. There's probably good value. You could probably buy one of those reasonable. If that's something you want to. But if you're going to keep something, drive it. You want to buy something that's going to have value for a long time. I prefer, the full size, bigger. A little simpler, not so much tech in it. But I'm more of an analog type guy. Yeah, you kind of get caught in that, that leasing. This becomes habit. But man, if you took that, found something that you could just decent that you could just buy, drive for a while, that 500. I mean, you could, I get it. It's a pretty good number. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of that new stuff has a lot of issues. That's the other thing, all the technology, the weird stuff. Some of these I've seen where they come in, they get the camera don't work, it affects all kinds of stuff in the rear view, and you just can't get the thing straightened out. It's just not simple enough. Or if you had something that was just paid for, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to have some kind of issues with it. But as long as it's manageable and you take care of it. Now, a lot of that new stuff, the common person can't fix it. You can't take it to just the normal guy. Like a lot of that, stuff that's, I don't know, 2000s or, a little less analog than most guys can fix. There's guys on all kinds of corners that can fix it. So that new stuff, you got to have all kinds of special computer programming, and the manufacturer's got to give you codes to fix it. I know in the new Ford stuff, even to change a window regulator, it has to be programmed to the car. Yeah. Well, some of that stuff is just the digital stuff goes bad, right? Electronics. Well, I'm talking just even in the rear view where the camera maybe sees around the car for radar, and when the stuff goes bad, it causes big problems. And some of it's not fixable. They don't even have fixes for you when they're real new. And that's where I could see you running into issues with new cars. That's another thing. On some of that older stuff, the bugs have been worked out of them. Or they know what it is or what causes them. They got fixes for them. And a lot of that late model stuff, you got to be a genius to fix it. Some of the stuff's pretty neat, but it's not for me. Yeah, there were the new Lightnings. I think they stopped making those. The EV ones, those new Lightning. They just had all kinds of issues. Even when Porsche was going to go all electric, and they started doing it, and then they went back to gas powered stuff. They had all kinds. My one buddy bought one of those all electric new Taycans, and he drove it down the street. This is a true story from Porsche, brand new. In rush hour traffic, it breaks down, just shuts off at the light, rush hour everywhere. Doesn't do anything. I don't even think he had a hard time getting out of the car. He had to call back to the Porsche dealer. So long story short, they get it towed back. They can't figure it out. The car sits there for a few months. They don't know what's wrong with it. Porsche finally sends out some update over the air, and the car fired up and was fine. And you know, I mean, that's not for me, especially when it's a software glitch and your car's not running and it's all controlled by something else that needs updates all the time. That I don't like that. I don't like any of that. You know, it's neat what they do with technology, but really, and they couldn't figure it out. You know, being locked in your car, you have to call for support. It's a little crazy. Not moving or nothing. Yeah. Yeah, those are real scary issues, let alone fixing the crap. How about weird stuff like that? Some other guy was telling me he had some newer Audi and it had a computer issue in one of the issues and it broke down on the side of the highway. They ended up sending somebody out and it just needed like a reflash. They did it right on the highway and that was it. Sent him on his way in the computer. It's just weird. Yeah, you see a lot. I mean, those, especially with the electric battery cars, that the fire stuff's dangerous. I mean, here in Sarasota, when we had that last big hurricane, Milton, whatever it was, you know, a year and a half ago, I was watching the Key, and at Siesta Key, and there was like kind of before the storm really started going bananas, halfway through the storm, before the eye hit, there was monster fires on the Key, and it was from those electrical cars, and it had nothing to do with really anything else but the water getting to them and exploding, and you know, it caused like massive fires on the Key. One of them was actually a EV bike started one of them, but like there was quite a few of the cars that just lit up like bombs because of the salt water in the batteries. And you know, that was during the storm. You know, the houses burnt because of the cars. Not, I mean, they got flooded and burned the house. It's crazy. Because that's a big problem with that electrical stuff. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a spot for that stuff, but I know I'm not a fan, and I definitely get a lot of comments about the EV stuff because I'm not into it at all. Maybe when I get fired up another day, I'll go on a rant about it, but I don't like it. I don't. And the cost of it. You know, I seen talking about articles. I seen another article. It was like earlier in the week, talking about how the cars, you know, go back to what we were just talking about, like a Tahoe back in '99, fully loaded Denali or whatever. It was probably $40,000, maybe more. $40,000. Well, you go back when they first built the first Tesla, it was over $100,000. And then the next year it was a little less, and the next year a little less. So the EV cars, the MSRPs have come down. Every other car, they've gone up. We just talked about the Cadillac Escalade V-Series. It's $175,000. They're going up. It's not going down in value. We're talking brand new MSRP. It's the only reason they're selling that stuff. They're, you know, with tax credits and, you know, a bunch of weirdo shit. Not because not because it's wanted. I think, you know, like, and there is no resale value on that stuff. Talking about resale value and hold the depreciation. No way. they drop like crazy in value, and nobody wants them. Another guy that I know that had one of those electric Porsches he hated it. Took it back. Wanted to sell it back to the Porsche dealer, and the Porsche dealer wouldn't buy it back. Now that's crazy. You're a Porsche dealer. You sold the car. They wouldn't take it back. They wouldn't buy it back, which I found interesting. But I understand why. That stuff is just, it's like catching a fallen knife. There's no value used. I think they sell a lot of the people on, the tech of the self-driving and all of that. You start to, they don't, and they probably that's the type of people they don't care about the depreciation, and they're probably not real car people. Like, they're not enthusiasts. I mean, I'm sure there's a few out there that are into that, but they're not. It's not their thing. Not into it. They think they're buying with the times, and they want the car to drive them around. I mean, for that kind of money, you might as well hire a driver. That's for sure. Talking about the lease payments and all that, I know when those Hummer EVs came out, they were a lot over $2,000, $2,500 a month lease. I just want. They're well under $1,000 now to lease one. They're just came way down, and I know some guys that have those also, and I don't think they're super happy. Guys that I know, and they're paying a premium on the lease, probably because they got them when they came out. Yeah, the charging is a whole nother issue. It's horrible. And then if you put, a nice charging station at your house, and you had multiple EVs, like you got a family and you want your kids to have them or whatever, like what the heck? You got cords everywhere, power everywhere. It causes anxiety if you're going to run out of power. It ain't like you can just go anywhere and hook up the thing, especially if you're out of town. They're like golf carts. They're just meant to drive around the golf course, something real close, not go far. They want to keep you close in those things. And that's another thing with those self-driving cars. I mean, that stuff's being recorded everywhere. Someone's monitoring that shit, or computers are for sure holding all that information. Yeah, don't get me going on this electric car stuff. I did drive one just so I could learn about them a little bit. I did for the experience, and I would never ever do it again. I drove one from here to Michigan, and it was a horrible, horrific experience. It took everything for me not to just, put it on a car caller, fly up there. But I did learn a lot about them, and I don't understand. I don't see the advantage in any way. I really don't. And I've recently had some guys trying to sell me on the idea of like, the self-driving for their, older, wife or whatever, and I still don't see it. You just have someone drive you around. I mean, what the heck? It's kind of an eerie feeling. But I did hear that they are passing some kind of laws where that is going to be something to where the cars can drive by themselves. I'm not exactly sure what the laws are because I haven't paid too close attention on that. But I think within the next 10 months, you'll see cars that are with nobody in them driving around. I mean, I know they're test marketing somewhere, but they're changing the laws around. I'm not a fan of that either. The only thing I really like about the whole thing is if you can't drive, like a bunch, it's perfect for someone like that out, maybe keeps the accidents down. Yeah, that'd be scary. Hitting the train. Holy smokes. In the self-driving car. Yeah, no, I know. I actually was in one that was self-driving. I mean, the technology is crazy. I just don't like it. And it will get better. It's just, holy smokes. And I know I did, it runs up your power. Like if you're dual driving one, runs up your power, your bill at home, and it's not like they're cheap to drive or, fuel or whatever, charge or whatever you want to call it. Not at all. It takes time. And yeah, I actually enjoy driving myself. I mean, that's, I know that I'm a car guy and I've been around that culture my whole life, but I enjoy it. I don't want the car driving me. Speaking of trains, I hadn't seen a train tracks in a long time. I was crossing the state going to my daughter's volleyball a week and a half ago or whatever, and I got stopped by a train. Been a long time since I've seen a train track. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want a car running into that. And you always see a bunch of, it's just like any other computer. They got glitches and they're outdated computers are outdated as soon as they hit the market. It's just always, that's how the cars are. Even these, our phones are super, super sweet, right? And they freaking, they're what do you, they got to be restarted and they got glitches and they can get viruses and, it's I don't know. Yeah, not any trains, not in here. Shit, they took the train track out, or they put a bicycle path, legacy trail here through Sarasota, all the way from. It'll go to Venice, I think. I'm sorry, it does go to Venice. It's going to eventually go all the way to Tampa. Yeah, that would suck. And that's all possible, right? I mean, some weird computer crap that they start controlling all the cars. Next thing you know, all the cars will be running around just taking off. Your car leaves you. Your car just left you. You don't even. It's no more. It drove away. Yeah, there'll be some weird stuff in the future, and that stuff's happening so fast. It's probably coming. Like sooner than we think. Within 2 years, we'll be saying, yeah, a guy I did a car deal with, he had just bought one, and we were checking out the self-driving on it, and he was all like, well, I wanted to take the kids to school, and the car's going to come back. I don't know. This is crazy. I'm not sure how safe all that is. And like you said, yeah. Say your car gets hacked and your kids are in it, the thing's gone. That'll be the next thing. People will be stealing cars remotely. They won't even have to go to the car. Now you don't even have to break nothing. They steal your car with a fucking magic wand, computer code. Pretty soon they just sit on their computer and steal your car. Now, yeah, I didn't even think about all that, getting hijacked. Yeah, that's odd. That's a good point. Yeah, I get so worked up thinking about some of that type of stuff. I just feel, man, I want nothing to do with it. Holy smokes. We were talking in the cigar lounge the other day, because guys know I'll get fired up about the EV stuff. And I was just to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna, the next conversion I'm doing is just gonna be a big block, carbureted. I don't even want another LS build. Might as well just give me a gas power big block. No computers in the car. Crank windows, Flex Edition. Yeah, keep it simple. Really? Yeah, that's crazy. I believe that. Is there anybody in those cars or the self-driving, or is it you're saying that they're moving them around without? That's another thing, all the drones. You know, and I don't know, you know, downtown here in these high rises and stuff, I've seen a few drones lately, like personal people using them. That's another scary thing. Yeah, I didn't know that they were live in California. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, can you imagine the Uber like pulling up, nobody's in it? Just seems so eerie. Like, what the heck? And where's what the heck? I mean, where's the social aspect of it? I mean, and the technology's moving so fast. I mean, I don't know. But you're right that the drones probably, you know, collecting data. I mean, that's a whole nother thing too. It's funny you bring up the drone thing, because they're kind of invasive too, a little bit, you know. And they can be, like you said, collecting all kinds of data. Not just for the cars, everything else. I mean, I realize it's all around, but I don't know. I'm just a hands-on type guy, simple as can be. Like, that stuff does, you know, I guess it's neat to see that we can, you know, figure it out and make it work, but I could care less about it. There's a guy pulling up in an Uber now. That'll be weird when there's nobody driving it. And there's so many different probably glitches that we're not even thinking of that will happen. A lot of weird stuff. Yeah. How about when you're somewhere out of town and you get one of these driverless cars pick you up, takes you somewhere completely different. Like, you don't even, I don't know. I mean, I understand a driver could, but if you halfway knew what was going on in the car, you could be like, hey, the Uber, the driverless thing probably locks you in there. You're like hostage. Yeah, you're not kidding. Yes, you're in a rolling cup. You're not kidding about that. Oh, that would be horrible. Horrible. Like little, be like little explosions that you're engulfed in. Yeah, that would be horrible. Takes the taking the fun out of driving too in cars. Thing driving by itself. You know, it's one thing too. It's different down here because we have really nice weather. You know, we're like in a bubble compared to a lot of the country. I just can't see how the cars will hold up and other parts of the country. Like how in the heck? Because it takes so much electronic and so much stuff to make things work right and proper. You know, what the heck happens? You know, in other parts, like I said, maybe in some little tiny bubble areas and stuff works. I just don't see it being anything. You know, I don't know. I always thought it would go away. You know, and it still might, just because there's no demand for it after it's already bought. But I'm also not a guy that gets into Ubers. I know that sounds strange, but I don't never ordered one. Probably won't. So, let alone a self-driving one. Yeah, and one you definitely could be held hostage in. Don't know where you're going, and you're riding around on a bomb. I mean, for years and years they told you don't put your laptop on your lap, because of the battery. Don't put your phone by your ear all the time because of the battery. Now we're gonna roll around and batteries just all around us. It's just that don't make any sense at all. Nothing about it. Like I said, the only thing that I like about it is if it can help some of the non-good drivers drive and not cause accidents. Perfect. Keeps the roads a little safer. That's about all I like about them. And that's if the thing is working properly. Probably makes the road worse if it's not. Like you said, it gets hijacked or glitched or something. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I think they're targeting a lot of the older people that are, probably shouldn't even be driving, and rightfully so. They have, like, they can go out and get in their car, um, and the thing will drive them wherever, and it's safe. And, yeah, there's probably a little market for that. Again, it takes away the social of, like, driving your parents around or whatever it is, or the older people, and it's like, I don't know. I don't see it. It's a very, very little need. And maybe what problem? I don't know. But yeah, give them to the old people for sure. Yep. You know what I think is crazy is talking about giving them to people, like the what do you call it, the enterprises and the rental car companies. From what I understand is, because I've had some family and stuff come into town for break, and the rental companies try to give the EV first to the consumer for the rental. Well, most of the people have no idea anything about them. Like, they don't charge them, whatever. You gotta take a course on it. If you don't, especially somebody that's older, unless the thing's doing everything for you. I know a lot of people that just turn them away at the rental places, and I don't know why they're trying to push them on people. Maybe because they overbought them or something. But I definitely, and then you're on vacation. Who wants to be sitting there plugging in their car somewhere? But when you're on vacation, you want to go places and see stuff, and you're definitely going to need to charge it. It's horrible. I don't like that. I'll take a carbureted car any day over an electric car. At least it has some character. For sure. I definitely love this conversation, but I don't know where it's going. That's for sure. The EV cars. We'll see. We'll see if I get blasted tomorrow about the EV stuff. Some people get real political about it, that's for sure. I'm going to go with your plan. My dream car is just a Cadillac V-Series. Forget it. And I think, and definitely, obviously everybody's living situation is different where they're at. Like we were talking about, like by the water, I just don't think it's good. And I'm gonna be upgraded to that Siesta Key here soon. Definitely gonna not have any electrical cars out there. That's for sure. And I always look at it as the cars. I look at them. I've always looked at them as like an asset, or buying them, to make money. That's probably a big part of it for me. Just They're just not an asset. It's a horrible, horrible investment. I'll tell you what, the Caddy V that's in there, you're still in there, man. Well, let's hear this thing fire up. When I first saw one of those new Caddy Vs, I was at the gas station. The guy was just coming. I don't know where I was traveling, and the guy just got it, and I was like, man, did you do something to that? Like, it sounded so good. It's like, nope. So it sounds like from the factory. They are just one hell of a machine, man. They sound so good, run good. For being stock. Now that we went on this tangent about the EVs, we'll see how many subs I get out of this one, huh? I was on roll this week. I might have just kind of slowed it down. I'm just kidding. What's the temperature down in Miami? It's beautiful here. I don't know what the temp is, but it's 73 right now. Real clear. Yeah, probably. Who lost 500 subs? Well, it'll turn back around. We'll get if that happened, we'd have to do a crash course and go get another EV, do a little drive. Really prove point. That Aston Martin sitting behind the Cadillac V is probably a 12-cylinder, I'm guessing, too. That probably sounds good. Yeah, speaking of AI, you get a bunch of comments all the time. This week for some reason it was just abnormous amount about it. No, the Aston Martin is not an SUV. It's like a DB12, or it's a car. It looks like it's orange. It's hidden behind there. Yeah. Yeah, it's behind that white Porsche. But the AI, a lot of the stuff you see online, you don't even know if it's real. Well, guys' comments, they always saying this or that about. They'll come up with whatever they can talk about. Well, that's one thing. At least none of my videos are AI. That's another powerful thing. There's all that stuff. That's a whole nother topic. And that stuff gets better by the minute. That AI, the context, really gets into that. Getting better and better. It's like it knows who you are. Yeah, it's beyond powerful. It's growing like crazy. and just learn, and it learns you so fast. You know, kind of more and more. Like, it's kind of scary. But then, I mean, I can see some good to it. Another Cadillac Escalade pulling in, but it's not a V. Yeah, I believe this stuff passes. It's real. I mean, you can't tell, like, a lot of that stuff. I mean, people, it's hard to tell. They're having a hard time telling what's real and what's not. think about what that's going to look like in 2 years. You know that. I mean, you can't barely figure out what it is or not anymore. If it's real or not. It's hard. That's hard to wrap your head around. I mean, to really think about it. And I believe they've made a lot of that stuff. I mean, the tension's good. I've been in the car business my whole life. Car dealerships, finance cars, basically everything automotive, real estate. And I definitely like to buy enthusiast style cars, and you know, there's still good money and stuff like that. That's, you know, rare and desirable. I like the wholesale market too. You know, just buy right, just wholesale and sell to dealers. Yeah, it's convertible Aston Martin. No, I've never had a 9 to 5. Always been self-employed. I've had mainly shops for cars, but mostly dealerships, and mainly I finance cars is what I did. But I think if you can learn to sell, you can do anything you want. That's one thing you got to get good at: selling. I don't care what it is. I've trained a bunch of guys too in the car business. In dealers, helping them become dealers, a lot of buyer payer stuff. I see a lot of value though in all this digital stuff now too. You know, it's just interesting. It's very like the AI and the whatever applications you're building with AI, like that stuff. It's just there's monster market and for all that. When I first started doing cars, there was none of that stuff. Years and years ago. I mean, the internet came along and really changed it changed every business, but being the cars is a big deal. It really kind of like changed the level playing field right away. You could, you weren't just to having cars right down the street. If you could find the same car now with the internet, like kind of even the playing field, the same color, same car, wherever, within 100 miles was different. Years ago, you didn't have access to that. And now you have all the knowledge at your fingertips too. Everybody does. It's good. That part of it's awesome. Yeah, like the software. The software business is awesome, but it's fast pace, right? I mean, you could have state-of-the-art software, then the next day be obsolete. I wonder if it'll be a big divide in the future, like analog and then tech, where I still see a lot of like people wanting just simple, or there'll be a place for all of it. That's something that will get real interesting. And kind of for me, I've seen both ends of it. I grew up, there wasn't no cell phone. Now you got super powerful thing in your hand all the time. Sounds like those guys are jamming down there in the Valet, like they're rocking out to some serious music. Yeah, you're not kidding. The world's changed super fast, and that's what I think. I mean, it's that's what I think. Like in the next year to 2 years, you're talking 24 months from now, it might be completely different at the rate that it's changing. It's crazy. It's mind blowing. Some really interesting stuff. You talk about the AI getting so much better. I mean, when these robots and stuff are learning, and I mean, pretty soon, like even like normal jobs of like cleaning a house and stuff, that's just all going to be probably a robot. Nannies, they'll learn everything. They're teaching themselves fast. That's some wicked technology. All right, well, let's hope some people got some serious value out of our EV rant and depreciation and AI talk tonight. Maybe we'll get a few more subscribers. And I thank you for all the comments. That was a great conversation. Mm-hmm. Oh, you ain't kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. But no, thanks for the conversation. It was awesome. I'm gonna get a couple guys on soon to bounce some stuff off of back and forth on my live. But I wanted to get some episodes going first. But that was great. Thanks for hanging out. It was fun. I loved it. That's for sure. I'll zoom in on the Cadillac for you. Let me see here. All right, hold on. Yeah, no, thanks. I'm glad you taught me too. I've been doing them every week, but you hit me up anytime. Let me yeah, that is that Austin there. Yeah, that Cadillac's sweet. I like that. Yeah, it is. What is this pulling out here? I think that's a Maserati. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you again. That was awesome. I appreciate it. Live episode 12.